Hey there, triathlete. Welcome to the Triathlete Mindset Podcast, where we explore effective training mindsets, life's challenges, and provide you with real-life strategies to help you become a stronger triathlete. Here is your host, Coach Morgon, the People's Coach.
Whoa, we are on episode number 2. This is episode number 2, and I am so privileged to have Sika Henry, and she's so amazing. And we have been text friends for about a year now, almost. It seems like it's been a little while, and just talking and having conversation like two normal people, and just and I appreciate your support, and I try to support you as much as I can just to get you out there. And because I understand, believe me, on my end, we kind of go through the same type of scenarios.
Torture.
Physical torture, media torture, like all that. We deal with all those different things. So tell everybody about who you are.
Yeah, well, first, thank you for having me on here. And you're right, we have been going back and forth, I want to say, for about a year and a half now. So time flies, right?
Yes.
Definitely, I think it was early 2019. So wait, 2 years then. I think 2 years.
Yes.
That's how fast time goes by. But yeah, I'm Sika Henry. I am a triathlete. I focus on the Ironman 70.3 distance. My ultimate goal is to earn my pro card in the sport. And I also work a full-time corporate job, which we just talked about before you hit record. I'm a corporate analyst for Ferguson Enterprises. I work in their marketing department. I really enjoy running. That's my favorite of the three. I do a lot of marathons. I finally got sub 3 hours in the marathon the other month, which was pretty freaking awesome, finally. And I'm also a Hoka sponsored athlete. And I recently helped pace the women in the 100K for Project Carbon X2.
Cray. And you talk about me, right? And that's why this is the good subject, because as we go into 100K, right? Today we're going to talk about anti-quit.
Yes.
I had a poster, you posted something the other day, and you talked about you glad you still kept pushing forward because, like all of us, we had these times in our past where we'd be like, man, we didn't know we would be where we are, right? Because we thought about quitting, we thought about giving up, and a lot of people do. And those people really never make it anywhere. But I think 100K, I don't know, like, did you think about quitting on that?
Yeah, well, luckily I was just a pacer, so right. I didn't have to run 100K. I had the option of running anywhere between 22 miles and dropping out at the 50K. So I actually dropped out at mile 28. And I think because I put in so much run volume over the past year because of COVID and the pools being closed and stuff like that, running those distances started to feel more natural. And I think it also helped that I did a marathon in, November. And I averaged 6:45s there versus the 7:10s I had to average at Project Carbon X2. So it definitely felt more comfortable. But, it's natural. Once you start hitting around 20, 22 miles, you start to feel it. So I'm happy I didn't have to run 100K.
Yeah. I always tell people, it don't matter how fast you get or how fast you are, fatigue kicks in, it's going to still hurt at some point, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so in your journey of everything you've done in your life, right? And even towards the new PR for the marathon, like, have you ever had any really big moments that stood out to you? Like, were you just like, why am I doing this? Like, why should I continue doing this? Like, you work a corporate job and you have your family and your family and friends, and that everything running and triathlon sucks the life out of a lot of things. So how do you keep that? Like, how do you stop from quitting?
I don't know. It's something that I balance or try to balance, and I do struggle with on a regular basis. I think, like most people do, it's very draining. The sport of triathlon is one of the hardest. And, I grew up swimming. I was a collegiate athlete. I was a high jumper. And of all the sports that I've tried, I would say triathlon, it's like still trying to put pieces of the puzzle together. Remember when I first got into it, it was fun and casual, but then when I wanted to take it to the next level and I got a coach and, my goal was to turn pro, I had no idea that people train twice a day, every day. Like, I had no idea that people were going out riding 100 miles on the weekends or running 20 miles the next day on Sunday. So it was eye-opening to me. I think in 2018 was when I really decided, like, I want to try to up my game in the sport. So I would say that Yeah, it's natural to question why you're doing these things, halfway through a workout. And, you and I just spoke the other day about not quitting. And for me, it was literally after I got off the bike. I had an hour and a half, really hard bike workout, like 12 4-minute repeats for me, which was really
Yeah.
hard, like 210 watts in trainer road. And, like after the 8th rep, I'm like, okay, that's good enough. Like, do I really need to do 4 more reps? So you start thinking like, and maybe I'll skip the next rep. Maybe I'll take some more recovery time. And it's when you can fight through those bad points, the fatigue, and I guess just be mentally strong. That's eventually what carries you through when it's game time, like when it's time to race.
Right. And I know that, even the people are going to consider you very fast because you are very fast in what you do. But do you consider like that a normal day, like you questioning, like, especially all of us, right? Do you consider that normal for you, even at the level that you're trying to achieve greatness, right? Do
Mm-hmm.
you see like thinking about, oh man, why am I doing this? Why do I need to go this far? Or do I have to run today? You look at the swim set and you go, oh, that's gonna hurt. Like,
Yeah.
why?
Yeah.
Like you ask yourself, like, why? Like, what am I doing this for? Like, does that happen to you on a regular basis?
I wish I could lie and say no, but it does. It
Yeah.
is a like daily thing. That's why they call it the grind.
Yes.
No, I question it all the time. It's, as I say, it doesn't get easier. You just get faster. So like, even if you're running faster times, it's not because, oh, it feels easier now versus what it was before. No, you're just, learning how to fight through the fatigue and hopefully become mentally stronger, and you get faster. But no, I'm constantly questioning why I'm doing it. Maybe not when I actually, no, I was about to say maybe not when I first go out, but that's not true either. There are times when today on my lunch break, I did not want to, I was in the middle of a project. I didn't want to put on my bathing suit. I did not want to get in the cold pool. I did not want to do a whole bunch of 100 repeats and, and then you get in the pool and you're like, okay, you get going, you're warmed up. You're like, okay. And then you get going. And then it's like by the 10th repeat, you're like, oh my God, why? This is so hard. So I think every athlete can relate to that. I think it's totally normal. I think even for an Olympian, I'm sure there are so many workouts that they do that, you question why.
Right. And there's so many people out there that think like they look at them like, oh, it's so easy for them. It's so easy
Right.
for them. I was like, no, if it was that easy, everybody be doing it. But they're
Yeah.
not, right? We're just all made differently as human beings.
Right.
But in the differences, we have different experiences. So what I would ask you is, what in life or who in life has prepared you for these hard, dark moments that you had and that you will have in the future for,
I would say definitely credit my family, my parents. They've never let me just quit or give up. Both my brother and I growing up, it was an unspoken rule that we had to be involved in sports. It just like we had to go to school. We also had to have be part of some kind of sports team after school. So it was never not, sports has never not been in my life. I don't really know how to operate without having that going on. In high school, I had the sports. In college, I learned how to balance that. And I think being a collegiate athlete did better prepare me for where I am now, learning how to balance the academics and classes and then, traveling and racing on the weekends. And I think all that did help me learn how to balance corporate life and triathlon right now.
Right. So in that travels, like, well, what was the event that really challenged you? Like when you knew that you were in the right place as an athlete, that, when you overcame something very hard, like what does that look like? Not in recent times, but like when you were collegiately or travel, when you were doing anything besides try, like when did you know like, okay, I will accomplish everything I set out to do? Like what event may have happened to you in your life to kind of create that for you?
I think just always having goals. That's what keeps me motivated. So in college, for me, it was clearing a certain height in high jump, or, as simple, I wasn't a huge runner then, but I did want to break, 60 minutes in the 400. And so just setting those goals, accomplishing that, for me, a huge thing was making it to the NCAAs, becoming an All-American. So for me, it's figuring out like the end goal, like what is my ultimate reason for doing this? What is it that I want to accomplish? And I use that as a motivating factor to keep me going. And even now, like recently with the marathon, when I'm out there running 20 miles on Sunday, not wanting to get up and do it, well, I have to ask myself, well, why am I doing it? And then I remember what that goal is and how incredible it feels once you do it. And I think that keeps me from quitting also, that feeling of, like I remember in Kona in 2019, knowing if I dropped out, how much I would regret it. Like how days later, weeks later, or maybe a year later, I would look back and have regret and wish that I had finished. And that's what kept me putting one foot in front of the other. And in college, it was the same way. I didn't want to graduate without having competed in the NCAA championships, which I grew up watching, or, being able to say I'm an All-American. That was just really important to me.
Right. And I know even with my children, my kids, right. And my daughter, she's graduating high school this year. And it was almost that we had to tell her over and over again, like when it got hard and she's like, I don't think I want to do this next year. And knowing it's just a bad day, right? Right. As an adult, or now that we look back, it's like, man, no. And did your parents do that to you? Did they tell you like, no, just
for sure.
Just keep on pushing. It'll get better or it won't.
Back then, they still have to do it now. Are you kidding me? I call my dad even now. I'm like, I don't know, Dad. Like, I'm tired. I'm fatigued. I just want to taper, but I also don't want to race either because it's going to be really painful. And he has to even remind me why I do it. And, we go back and we look at certain races. He's like, you say this every single time. Like you've been saying this since you were a kid. So it's nothing new that I go through. So no, I still rely on my parents to help talk me out of those dark moments for sure.
Right. So do you have any mantras or any way, how do you work through those dark moments? Like, do you have like a step-by-step process, or are you just like, shut up, Sika, and do it? Like, what do you, like, how do you handle those things? Like for me, I have those moments if it's really hard. And I did have a hard bike ride yesterday. It was 1 hour and 20 minutes. And I had those 4 minutes. It was 4 minutes by 8 at like 93% FTP. When I had like 45 seconds rest or a minute or something crazy. And I was just like, it was at the end of the back end of the workout. So it's burning. Like I could do it. You know how you can do it, but like you don't want to suffer anymore. You want to stop. And so for me, my grandmother raised me. Right. And she told me, like, I remember her telling me when I was going to get out the Marine Corps, she's like, don't get out because there's nothing for you out here. And she said, and she always used to tell me, never give up on your own dreams. And so I try to, because I miss her so much, and I try to think of her in my memories. And I want to bring the deepest emotion, the most, either the joy, the most pain. And I want that thought to almost bring tears to my eyes. And that's how it helps me dig a little bit deeper. I don't go there that often, but yesterday I just needed to go there because it was a long day anyway with life and everything else. And I was like, you know what? Nope. I'm going to show up and I'm going to shut up. Let's get it done,
Right. For me, I'm big on visualization. So, and really having my why, like understanding what my why is. So, I mentioned earlier, I want to earn my pro card. So when I am suffering really bad in a workout and I want to drop out, it's like, well, if I can't push through this, I'm not going to be able to push through, in a race where it really matters. And I do ask myself, how bad do I want this? I think that's something that I did since I was a kid, even in college, when, you're running the 400 and that last 100 meters, you're just like, oh, you're locking up. You don't want to keep pushing it. But it's like, you have to ask yourself, like, how bad do I want this? Coming back from a terrible crash I had in 2019 and, like getting through those really rough workouts and wondering, like, is it worth me putting myself through all this again? And I had to ask myself, well, how bad do I want this? I want it pretty freaking bad. I think that's why I still am here and why I keep coming back. So, like having your why, I think, can really keep you motivated and get you out of those dark spots.
Yeah, when you said 400 was my event too, and I remember because like the first 100 is easy. The second one, you like turning and burning. Do you go into that last turn? You like, oh, you feeling good. You lean into the turn and you come out. But after you come out that turn, everybody is hanging on for dear life right?
I
And
know.
everybody's screaming at you, and your glutes feel like they're gonna lock up, and it's just
right.
I actually lock up when you start running. Yeah, it's just really bad, and all you got to do is just like it's right there. You just got to go for it, man. And you said that that 400 hurt, and that 200 both of them.
Sure does. Yeah.
So, have you ever quit anything?
No. I never DNF'd either until my crash. That was my first and only DNF. No, I've never quit anything.
What do you think you would feel like if you ever like made that decision, other than like you would look back and be, down on yourself, but how could you imagine that feeling?
Yeah, well, I wouldn't look at it as quitting. If I did stop doing something, it would be because either, my body just can't take it anymore, or I'm, I've gotten everything that I want to out of sport or out of a career or, relationship. So, for me, I don't believe in quitting. And I think there's nothing wrong with, like Kona, for instance. Some people, even pros, they drop out of that race. And for them, there's a reason, for them, it might be, well, there's another Ironman that this isn't going well. I'm going to finish way out of the money. And there's another Ironman coming up. So it's better to cut my losses now and try to, place and earn some money in the next one. So I don't necessarily look at them as they quit the race. So you really have to weigh in your mind, like, what's the best thing for you? To me, quitting is just stopping when it hurts or something like that. Like being in a race and it's like, oh, like this just really hurts, so I'm just dropping out. Like that to me is quitting. But if there's like a genuine reason why it's time for you to, pull the cord on something, there's no shame in that either. Like knowing, as long as you know that you've gotten everything out of yourself and you feel like, okay, I am fine with stepping away and I'm not going to have any regrets, then there's no shame in that.
Right. And then there's, I know there's a lot of people out there that have probably watched this and they're talking about, there's a such thing as quitting and things of that nature. I think you said it real clear. It's like, you have to decide, are you or are you not? If you have a little bit more left, and people say, well, no, it would hurt so bad. But I've been to that point before. Like I've never quit anything, but I've been to that part where, like my body it's not that I want to do it. It's that my body's giving out. Like, it's like, I'll keep going. But there's that other person that's like, it hurts. Like that's not really enough to like say, you came out here to accomplish something. Now, when it's not going how you think it should, life, then you want to choose to do something that may seem easier, but in the same, like you said in the beginning, even if that happened, you would be able to live with yourself. And so I would almost argue that the person is almost self-inflicting that trauma that's going to be caused in the future because of a decision in a moment. Right. And it's really it's hard for people to come back from that. It's really hard for people to come back from that. Have you seen any athletes that are really struggling with quitting something or being almost like, woe is me, like I had to go through this, I had to do this, and you look at them and you like, man, no, you just didn't commit yourself to something great, or you didn't really you didn't commit to yourself at all, right? You just gave up.
I think there, in triathlon, especially the endurance side of it, like half iron, full iron, we're some of the toughest people in the world. So I don't really see that too often. I think if anything, it's people who are possibly like new to the sport. And like for me, when I first decided that I wanted to get really competitive, I had no idea what went into it, like how much work it would take, and early mornings and strength training. And it's like, you can put a goal down, like you can say, oh, I want to do this, I want to finish a marathon. It's one thing to say it and it's another thing to do it. And I think some people give up just when they get started because they didn't understand, like, if this was easy, everybody would do it. But I think for the most part, the people that I come across in this sport are like go-getters and multitaskers and not.
We are. Yeah, we are a certain type of person. Like I think we all are. And it's funny that you say that, because I remember if it was 2 years ago when we spoke and you was like, I wish somebody would have told me training was going to be like this.
Yeah.
You literally, I remember that comment.
Yeah. Yeah. Sometimes I'm like, oh man, how different my life would be. How much more time would I have on my hands right now if I didn't go down this rabbit hole of torture?
Yes. And it's crazy because we, even after like we do our races and we kind of had that taper time, we like, what do I do? Like, what do I do with myself?
I know, like way too much free time. Yep, it's true. Yeah.
But like a week ago, you were like, oh man, I wish I had more time.
Yep. Exactly.
Man, that's crazy. So like with people struggling with something hard in their lives and they're looking to quit and they're looking for a way out, what kind of advice would you give them moving forward?
As I said before, like knowing your why, like why are you doing this? Having an end game, like my dad and I just talked the other day about like finding out what motivates us and really like holding on to that. So when you are like having those dark moments or, you have a crappy race, it's thinking about, okay, well, why did I start this? Why am I here? Why am I doing this? Like if you're in the middle of a race and you're like, I'll just jog it in or something. It's like, well, you didn't come here for that. You came here for a certain goal, whether it's a time or place, or just, saying that you crossed the finish line. So just like remembering why you're out there doing what you do. And for me, that brings me back time and time again.
Right. And I do believe that, especially talking to you, it really, your resolve is shown every day. Even if it's a text message, like, yes, I'm in pain. I'll text you later, or why am I doing this? And we all have that, right? And this is a testament to I think endurance athletes in general. We all go through it, but we're going to get through it, right? We just got to stick it out. And there are a lot of people out there that will jump into triathlon even this year for the first time. And what did you wish you knew at the beginning? Like probably the top 3 tips. Like what are the biggest things that you need to take these 3 things into consideration, right? If you want to make the best of this experience.
That success doesn't happen overnight. The things that we want most don't just get handed to us. They don't come easy. It takes time and patience. It's an endurance sport, as they say. It's not a sprint, it's a marathon. Like it's going to take time. It's not going to happen overnight. Like you have to put in the hard work. Initially I thought within a year of training with my coach, I'm like, I'm going to get my pro card. And here I am a couple of years later, still grinding, going after it. So yeah, accepting that it's not going to happen overnight, that you're going to have to put in the time and the work. What else? That's really one of my biggest things that I needed to understand and accept when I started working with my coach. Even now I get frustrated. I'm like, I've been doing XYZ for months now. Like, why aren't I getting any better at this? And, it's like, it's going to take some time and you have to be patient and you have to trust the process. I think another thing is deciding what works best for you. Like for me, people ask me about, whether they should get a coach or something like that. And I need to be able to report into somebody. I need to have somebody, checking in on me. And like, if my coach didn't give me the workouts, if I didn't have training peaks and it showed green or red, if I was doing a workout or not doing a workout, I would probably skip half of them. Like, I think I'm innately lazy. Like, I don't want to work out half the time, but knowing that it's written, it's there, it's what I'm supposed to do. He's checking in on me. It keeps me motivated. And keeps me going. So like if you're somebody who has a hard time motivating yourself, getting a coach might really help with that. So that's something that I wish I knew early on when the first couple of years I was kind of floundering around by myself, just like reading, like looking at a book and pretty much deciding, okay, today I want to do this, tomorrow I want to do that, but that might not necessarily be what I need to be doing. And then I guess the third thing is focusing on your weaknesses, like improving your weaknesses and not putting less time into your strength. So for me, the run comes a lot more natural to me and I don't really need to put in as much time. I need to focus on the things that I struggle with. It's like the things we want to do the least is what we need the most. So I really need to be in the pool often and on the bike often and cut back on the running. I mean, of course, now with COVID and stuff like that, it's the reason why I was able to run as much as I did the past few months. But yeah, focusing on your weaknesses, improving those weaknesses, and having confidence that your strengths will still be there.
That's solid. I hope you all hear this, right? These are very key. And this is for somebody fast. This is somebody, trying to take it to the next level. Like, it doesn't matter, right? You have to be focused. You have to have structure. You got to do the things that you don't want to do. Like that never changes, right? Because when you're comfortable is usually where you're more proficient, and you need to make the hard things comfortable. And that's where change and adaptation and, real results take place. And I would employ everyone to like listen to this podcast a second time, because she's dropping you some golden nuggets, as Steve Hart, is it Kevin Hart? He said dropping them golden nuggets, right? You got to listen to this stuff, because everybody is going through it. You just have to know that when you're going through it, you're going to get through it. And then you're going to be able to look back. I mean, and I would ask people, look back in your life right now, think about it, and think about those times where you thought it was like, this was too much, or you wasn't going to make it. And then now you are where you are right now. Like, it will happen. Like, life is life. It comes with the good and the bad. And if we all had everything handed to us, would the good even be good? It would be normal. And so appreciate your health, appreciate the things that you have, and appreciate each other. And I want to thank you, Sika. I'm so excited that I got to talk to you. I was like, man, like, this thing ain't going fast enough. I wanted to hurry up and get on here, but I know you're busy. And but there's just certain people that you just want to talk to, because they have really good story, and that a lot of people are going to learn a whole lot from this this video and the podcast portion of this. And we're going to bring value to a lot of people's lives. And that's what we can, our inspiration, I think, together is something that we have to really think about. And that's another reason why we can't quit, me or you.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. So anything else you want to leave them with? Then we out of here.
No, not at all. Follow me on social media.
Okay. Where can they follow you at?
Yeah, put everything out there. Sika Henry. So at Sika Henry, SIKAHENRY. And I'm on Instagram. I'm pretty active on there. I'm finally on Strava. And I've been getting into Zwift lately too. So
when's the next race? When's the next race?
Oh my gosh, a month from today is
Which
the next
one?
race. Challenge Miami, 70.3 half Ironman.
Okay.
In Homestead, Florida. So we'll see how it goes. I haven't been able to do one. Yeah, I haven't been able to do a triathlon since Kona because of everything that's happened. So yeah, excited, nervous, and knocking on wood that it'll happen.
Yep. And when you hit that one moment and you question, like, why are you doing this? You're doing it right.
Yes, exactly. Time again.
Yes. Well, guys, we're going to get out of here, and don't forget, like, hey, every 2 weeks we're posting a new episode, and if you want to be on here, it don't matter who you are. If you're a triathlete and you want to help change lives, let's do it together. Let's make some changes. Let's think about mindset, not only just the physical, but the mental and emotional, because that's what makes us strong individuals and athletes as well. Have a good day. Thank you. See you later, guys.
Bye. Thanks for having me.
Thank you for listening. Find Coach Morgan on social media and at www.morganlattimore.com. Check back every 2 weeks for new and insightful episodes. Until next time, remember, you are enough. You just have to believe it.